just be on what you witnessed and heard as Chief of Protocol at State House around April 2000. During your previous testimony here at the Commission, when you were covering the themes around the 1994 coup, the April 11th incident, as well as the death of Koro Ceesay, you did not have the chance to make a final statement, so we will also give you an opportunity to do so. Are you ready to proceed?
I am.
Please give us your full names.
I am Demba Njai.
Mr. Njai, as I've already said, you testified before the Commission on the 27th day of February 2019, so therefore there's no need to lead you on some of these preliminary facts, such as your personal information and your educational history, as well as your professional background. We will only touch on your professional background briefly as it relates to your duties as Chief of Protocol in April 2000. Is that understood?
It is.
It is correct that in 1997, you became Chief of Protocol at the State House.
It's correct.
And can you tell me what your role as Chief of Protocol was?
Well, as Chief of Protocol, basically you are responsible for the programs of the President, minuting files of those whom he would meet, preparing the office, participating in national events, advising at times if necessary. If you see that things are not the right way and you have the opportunity, you advise and make sure that the situation is okay.
And would it be correct to say that as your role as Chief of Protocol, you were closely interacting with the President?
I was. And I had the opportunity not only during hours of Chief of Protocol, but in most times when I close work, he would call me and I would be at the State House with him till late hours before I go back home.
And what would you describe your relationship with the President as?
Very cordial then.
Can you tell us where you were around April 2000?
April 2000, we were on a trip to Cuba in Havana.
Can you remember the precise dates of that trip?
I would know that 10th and 11th found us in Cuba, in Havana.
And what was the purpose of this trip?
I had been going there many times, but this one, I think it was the, not Commonwealth, but some conference on, it was an international conference. It was an international conference, official one, non-aligned movement, if I can fully remember.
Thank you very much. And whilst on the trip, did you receive any information from the Gambia?
Yes, I did. That there was a student demonstration and that some students died from it.
Did you receive any further details about this demonstration?
Not from anybody else, but I know there was a time the President called me to his house, his room, and asked me to contact the pilot and that we make a flight plan immediately for a return to the Gambia, unannounced, to arrive in the Gambia between 3 and 4 a.m. and arrive secretly, that is unannounced.
When did the President give you this information?
If I may fully remember, it should be a day after the incident that I heard of the killing of the students.
Would that be the 11th of April?
It could be.
Do you know whether the President was informed about the demonstrations on the actual day of the incident, which was the 10th?
I may not be aware, but I know he should be.
And how long were you supposed to stay in Cuba, if you remember?
I think we may have stayed 2 more other days, but we had to cut it short and come.
Do you know why you had to cut the trip short?
Well, I guess it was the information that would have been received by him, and that he couldn't be there comfortable whilst the Gambia is burning.
And under what circumstances did you arrive in the Gambia on the April 11, 2000?
Very strange circumstances, because usually when we used to travel, we announced that we were traveling a day or two before. When we are coming, we have to come back when the date is set, or we have to send message here that we are coming, and it's announced that we are arriving this time and that time of this day. But in this particular time, they asked me to make a secret, and we arrived here unannounced. When we arrived at the airport, we took the convoy without siren. We had to go through at Junction Cow, where we call Cow Junction. We took Bundung Highway. We drove without siren up to Serekunda Market Junction. We branched right straight to Westfield and Banjul, which had never happened all the years I had been there since Sadauda Jawara's time.
And did you understand why all the secrecy surrounding the president's arrival?
Well, it had to do with these happenings then, the killing of the school, and you know, people may not have been happy, and that it could have led to any other thing. That's why we made it secret. That's what my assumption was.
And after you arrived in the Gambia, did you personally come to find out the circumstances surrounding the April 10th and 11th demonstrations?
Well, he may have been briefed by the government and the authorities responsible. But people like me, we heard it from the soldiers, this and that happened, that rumors were out. But officially, I know he would be informed by authorities responsible.
What about yourself? Did you find out anything about the demonstrations?
Yes, because after a day or two, I went out the streets. I saw the damages done, like Westfield, Gamtel, some telephone booths, and I think a police station that was vandalized.
And did you come to know under what circumstances these properties were damaged and vandalized?
Yes, I had the students, after some killings, were also mad, and they had no other arms but to see anything belonging to the state to destroy. That's why they were doing that, I believe.
And do you know who actually carried out the killings that you mentioned, the killing of students? Were you informed?
No, I had not been informed.
And you didn't come to know at a later date?
Well, as time went on, one night I was at the State House with the President, around after 9, going towards 10.
Mr. Njai, just before we get there, I would just like to ask you a few other questions. After the President arrived from Cuba, did he make any public statement?
No, not to my knowledge. I can't remember him saying any public announcement.
Do you know if any other public announcements were made about the demonstrations from anybody in authority?
I heard that the Vice President then, Dr. Aissatou Njai Sedi, made a public announcement